हर खबर देसी टीवी यूएसए पर।
पाकिस्तान के वजीर हारजा शाह महमूद कुरैशी का TRT वर्ल्ड न्यूज़ 1 पर खुसूसी इंटरव्यू। वज़ीर हारजा मखदूम शाह महमूद कुरैशी ने कहा है कि अक़वाम मुत्तहिदा की सलामती कौंसिल अब फ़लस्तीन के मसले को दो चार करने की पोजीशन में नज़र नहीं आएगी। अब इन्हें फैसला लेना पड़ेगा। TRT वर्ल्ड तुर्की के टीवी चैनल के साथ इंटरव्यू में वज़ीर हारजा ने कहा कि UNSC अब इस मामले पर झगड़ा नहीं करेगी, पोजीशन में नहीं आएगी, इन्हें फैसला लेना पड़ेगा। वो लोग जो बुनियादी हकूक़ पर यकीन रखते हैं इन्हें ज़रूर बोलना पड़ेगा, वो बार पर नहीं बैठेंगे क्योंकि काफ़ी है।
Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi has called on the United Nations to deploy a protective force to stop Israeli aggression against the Palestinians. I sat down with the foreign minister to talk about his plans to hold Israel accountable for its actions. I'm Frankie Ciardo, and this is TRT World One-on-One Express. Qureshi, thank you for joining us here on TRT World. You gave an impassioned speech before the General Assembly. Tell us more about that.
Well, the world has seen what's going on. People who were silent, people who were sitting on the fence were jolted to react.
You were, I'm sure, right?
Everybody was. Everybody was. Nobody could expect the reaction that you saw. Nobody could expect that from the 27th of Ramadan, things will take such a shape that the OIC would be galvanized into action. The Arab League would be galvanized, NAM would be mobilized, and it would result in a special emergency session of the General Assembly. An unprecedented session has taken place today. 103 people registered to speak today. This is unusual. I think the Security Council will no longer be in a position to fudge on the issue. They will have to take a decision. People who believe in fundamental rights, they must speak up. They cannot sit on the fence anymore because enough is enough. And I think today's session will send a very clear message to the Security Council.
As far as concrete action that you want the General Assembly to take and the Security Council to take and the Secretary General to take, what can they do now to stop this?
The first thing they need to do is get a ceasefire. That's the first thing. My coming here, the first one-point agenda that I have is cessation of hostilities and ceasefire. Once that has been achieved, the rest will flow from it.
Well, you also talked about some kind of international protection force, didn't you? Tell us about that.
Well, we are meeting the foreign ministers, OIC foreign ministers who are here today, physically here in New York. We'll be meeting the President of the General Assembly, and there we will be talking, we'll be floating the idea. Pakistan did, Turkey have done as well, and we will be floating this idea and we will be discussing the modalities of that with the President of the General Assembly.
How accountable do you hold the U.S. for enabling Israel?
Well, the only power that they would listen to is the United States. You know, United States has influence over them, and they should play a more active role in convincing them that what they are doing is not acceptable to the world.
In terms of what we're going to see now, there's a lot that's going on in your region. How important is Turkey's role in keeping stability in your part of the world right now?
Turkey wants to see the peace process move forward. So do we. So does the world. So does US and the Afghan people.
Mr. Minister, there is a sad parallel between Indian-occupied Kashmir and what's happening with the Palestinians, isn't there?
Look at the similarities. What are people in Kashmir demanding? Right to self-determination. So are the Palestinians. What are people in Kashmir crying about is demographic restructuring. What are Palestinians fearing is demographic restructuring. What are people in Kashmir worried about is ethnic cleansing. What are we talking here today is ethnic cleansing. 125 bombs over Gaza in 25 minutes. Look at the parallel. Palestinian cause is one of the oldest items on the Security Council agenda. Which is the other one, which is equally old? Kashmir. Look at the similarities.
Foreign Minister Qureshi, thank you for joining us here on TRT World.
Thank you.
नाजरीन, इसी के साथ देसी टीवी यूएसए से खबरों का वक्त खत्म हुआ जाता है। हर दिन के आगाज से हर दिन के अख्ताम तक देसी टीवी यूएसए रहता है हर पल आपके साथ। मजीद अपडेट्स के लिए विजिट करें हमारी वेबसाइट www.desitvusa.com और क्लिक करें हमारा लिंक ट्री। हमें फेसबुक, इंस्टाग्राम और ट्विटर पर करें फॉलो, क्योंकि आपकी मोहब्बत, आपका साथ हमारी हौसला अफजाई करता है। और हमसे जुड़े रहने के लिए हमारे चैनल को करें सब्सक्राइब और बेल आइकन दबाना ना भूलें। कीप वॉचिंग देसी टीवी यूएसए। अल्लाह हाफिज।